Elite Facts presents
10 crazy stories behind a film's production.
10.
Troy, George Camilleri. During the film's production, Brad Pitt tore his left Achilles tendon. Well, ironically, actor George Camilleri severely broke his leg in a scene. He was treated at the hospital, but days later suffered a heart attack from a blood clot in his leg. He was treated once again and released, only to have another heart attack which led to his death.
9.
The Exorcist. It's a known fact that director William Friedkin kept his entire cast on edge during the production of The Exorcist as a way to bring a more realistic performance out of them. This was a common practice used by directors at the time and was a technique famously used by Stanley Kubrick when he was directing The Shining. The series of unnerving goings-on during the shoot surely helped keep them this way too, as actress Linda Blair, who played the possessed young Regan, nearly broke her back when a mechanical device had a major fault during one of the bed-shaking scenes. Renowned actor Max von Sydow, who plays Father Merrin, suffered through the whole film's production. He was in great health at the beginning of the production, but suffered from a series of unexplained illnesses throughout the course of filming. As well as various actors' health being at risk, on a number of occasions, lights that had been rigged to the ceilings of sets fell without explanation, luckily never hurting anybody. The film took a major blow, however, when all of the interior sets of the McNeil residence, aside from Reagan's bedroom, burnt down and delayed production for 6 weeks. It's pretty safe to say that this whole film was cursed from the beginning of production.
8.
The Crow, Brandon Lee. It's a sad thing to hear when you know that he died on the set of what would be a legendary film, much like his father. As the scene was being filmed, Brandon Lee was killed after Michael Massey fired a gun at Lee as intended. However, the bullet was unseated from a dummy round that was lodged in the barrel of the prop handgun. The bullet was not noticed and the gun was loaded with a blank cartridge. When the blank was fired, the bullet shot out and hit Lee in the abdomen, killing him.
7.
Last House on the Left. Considered to be the film that gave the master of horror his start, Last House on the Left was written and directed by Wes Craven. According to Craven and actors David Hess and Mark Schaefer, things got way too serious during filming. For example, Mark Schaefer grabbed co-star Sandra Cassel and held her over a drop. While doing this, he threatened to throw her off if she didn't get the next take right. He did this because he wanted to get a more convincing performance out of her and to get her in the right mood for the scene. Karma struck as Hess suffered from some real and completely reckless fear later when the actor playing the father of Hess's character threatened him with a fully functioning chainsaw. It was also said that after they all wrapped up filming, they were all punching the living daylights out of one another.
6.
Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, Accidents and Deaths. Resident Evil: The Final Chapter's production has been cursed with so many accidents, the first of which was when renowned stunt actress Olivia Jackson, who's well known for her stunt work in Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Mad Max: Fury Road, suffered a traumatic injury which essentially forced her into retirement because she had to get her arm amputated. This wasn't the end of the production's bad luck, however, as a crew member by the name of Ricardo Cornelius was crushed under the weight of a Hummer that was intended for a chase scene in the film.
5.
Noah. Stalkers are common when you're famous. We're pretty sure you've got to make a contingency plan for dealing with stalkers before getting your big break in show business. Well, unfortunately for Emma Watson, she had to deal with a stalker while filming Noah. What makes this stalker different from others? Well, during the shoot, Emma Watson decided to go off in the woods near the location of the shoot. While she was there, a stalker that she recognized from outside her home appeared. Members of the crew intervened, and while Watson was injured and didn't press charges, those involved with the shoot described how it put a pall over everything. Emma probably would have been better off pressing charges, as this may give off the wrong message of leniency to other stalkers out there.
4.
Skippy. This one is just cruel. The 1931 Best Picture nominated film Skippy features a scene where young actor Jackie Cooper was required to cry. Director Norman Taurog decided that for the scene to be a success, the tears needed to be genuine. So what did he do, you may ask? Well, he only asked a stagehand to take Cooper's pet dog out behind the studio and pretend to shoot it. Even though it was revealed after they got the take that the dog was okay, you can't argue with results, as Cooper was nominated for Best Actor and wrote a best-selling autobiography called Please Don't Shoot My Dog.
3,
Alien, Chestburster. When you think of classic scenes in horror films, one of the first things that comes to most people's minds is the incredible chest-bursting scene from the 1979 classic Alien. Sure, that scene has scared people for the last 30-plus years, but it's what it took to create that scene that makes it creepy. Screenwriter Dan O'Bannon says that H.R. Giger went to extreme lengths to design the xenomorph's head, including purchasing real human skulls from India and cutting them apart. O'Bannon didn't really do or say anything about it until the mid-1980s, when he wrote the idea into the comedy Return of the Living Dead. Oddly enough, a news story came out that India had shut down the companies supplying skeletons, making it quite possible that something unsavory may have been going on. And he ends on a particularly chilling note. The teeth of the skulls he saw Giger working with were very much like those of children. Funny enough, there's a scene in Return of the Living Dead where a real human skull is used as one of the zombies to rise from the grave.
2,
Dow. Dow is a weird case when it comes to film production. Over the course of production, the original film was broken down and restructured from a film tribute to Nobel Prize winner Lev Landau into an insanely over-immersive act of method cultism. At the request of director Ilya Kursanovsky, the cast and crew were required to dress in mid-20th century Russian clothing to match the time period of the film. They weren't allowed to have cell phones or anything else modern. Food had to be in cans from the era, and any documentation had to be typewritten. Anyone who so much as mentioned aspects of the modern civilization or even left the set without getting permission would be heavily fined. Cast and crew described this as some form of prison experiment.
1,
Come and See. In 1985, the film Come and See was released and was acclaimed by critics across the board. The film centers around the story of shell-shocked victims of the Third Reich's invasion of the USSR. The acting was said to be the most authentic part of the film, as it felt so realistic. Well, that's because it was. In fact, maybe it was a bit too realistic. Actual bullets were fired at cast members. No one was actually trying to hit anyone with the bullets, but still, lead actor Alexei Kravchenko described how bullets came within inches of his head during a take. At least when Brandon Lee was shot on the set of The Crow, it was an accident. This is ridiculous.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.